looking? What you got a cooking? What you got a cooking? 'Cause I'm hoping hard it be me hiding in your favorite recipe.
Hi, I'm Jill Ferris. This is Cooking for Bachelors. Welcome to our new kitchen studio in Red Hook, Brooklyn, and I guess the internet around the world. Today we have a real treat, a live audience. You didn't believe me, did you? All right, so we're gonna cook some really interesting dishes. Some of the things that are really hot now is barbecue. So I was looking for an indoor smoker, and I found this one from Nordic Ware. And it's fairly inexpensive, and it cooks on your stovetop, whether you have gas or electric. We are going to make jerk chicken wings today, and they are absolutely fabulous. And we're also going to make a kale salad to go with that. So I actually wrote it down. I'm sorry. And this is measuring when I say no measuring. So I'm going to give you the measurements, but I'd like you to know that all of our recipes are on iFood TV. Our videos are there also, and they have recipes along with them. Wasn't that nice of them? I didn't have to do it. All right, so we're going to use this mini Cuisinart food processor, and that's where it's all going to happen. What's interesting about jerk is that it's Jamaican, and a lot of people make it differently. It has two flavor profiles. One is green and hot, and the other is the more mellow spices like cinnamon and allspice and nutmeg. First, we have a half a cup of scallions. I chopped them up, but fairly loosely because they're going to be ground in here. I have a full cup of jalapenos. You can also use habaneros. Be careful when you're cutting peppers because the spice will stay on your hands, and then you touch your eyes, and then they tear, and then it's terrible. Okay, next is 1 tablespoon of soy sauce. I'm using a gluten-free soy sauce here, so for those of you who are gluten-free, this is available. And if you don't eat gluten, I'm letting you know it's in soy sauce, so remember to get the gluten-free. Okay, now we have 1 tablespoon of lime juice. I like to use a fresh lime all the time, and no pits, so I'm just gonna squeeze it right in here. Now what's interesting about when it says, you know, teaspoons, tablespoons, 1 lime, whatever, remember different citrus is juicy or drier, so you have to make sure that you know the measurement that you're putting in and not just 1 lime. So we used a tablespoon of lime juice, 2 tablespoons of allspice. Allspice is not a mixed spice. Allspice is actually a nut, very aromatic, sort of sweet. And how much are we putting in of this today? I'm not using my measuring cups anymore. All right, great. Well, you know, you get it. It's going in. Okay. And then we're going to put in 1 garlic clove chopped. I have this great container for garlic. Refrigerated garlic gets too moist and tends to get moldy. This keeps it dry. It's a terracotta bowl, and I keep it on the counter. And there's always garlic in it. I'm gonna have to cut that up. And garlic is really the best fresh. Powdered garlic makes you have stinky breath. It's really true. And I'm just gonna cut this loosely because it will all chop up in here. And then we have a teaspoon of salt. I have a salt grinder. This is Himalayan pink salt. And I like to keep the cover on and grind it instead of, then it has a nice big amount. We have a little sugar in the raw here, and we half a teaspoon. You can also use honey. This is freshly ground pepper, and I have a little coffee grinder, which you could use for spices also. So I ground it freshly this morning so I don't have to stand there with that thing, my beautiful pepper mill all day. And 1/4 teaspoon of cinnamon. So you see these have the sweeter flavors alongside the spicier flavors, and that's what creates the whole story of the jerk. Ginger and some nutmeg, and I like to grate my nutmeg fresh. Since there's only 1/8 of a spoon, we're just going to use our planer here and put the nutmeg. Great. Now we're going to grind it. The mini processor actually has 2 speeds, chop and grind, and all that means is one goes counterclockwise, one goes clockwise. So to mix it up nicely, I use both of them. Okay, now here's our paste. So it's this extremely aromatic paste with all of the wonderful seasonings. This is the graceful part, getting it into the bag. Now I have some chicken wings here, which are nice, plump, and juicy, and I'm gonna put them all in the bag. Now this is 6, and that's, for what I made, I think 6 is good. Put them all in the bag. And then we're gonna zip it, and then we're just gonna mush it around. We're gonna keep on mushing it around until everything's covered. This is really good if you leave it in the refrigerator for 24 hours. So does everyone want to come back tomorrow? I don't think so. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna cook it right away. So we've been marinating for 24 hours, wink, wink. And now we're going to place it in our smoker, and I'll show you how this works. So it's a multi-part smoker. Sometimes I need a little help getting this part open. It's so snug. All right, so what you do is you put your wood chips in the bottom, about 2 tablespoons full. I'm using a hickory smoking chips, and you just make a little pile in the center. Okay. If you're smoking the wings, I'm going to smoke them dry. So I'm not going to use any liquid, but sorry, I'm so confused. Here's our tray. This is the catch tray, or you would use it for liquid. You can use beer or apple juice or wine. If you're smoking something that you want more moist, like a pulled pork or fish, is really good smoke too. I'm going to put some foil in here so it catches the drippings from the chicken wings and makes for an easy cleanup. And you should always do things that make for an easy cleanup, because sometimes we don't want to cook because we don't want to clean up. Okay, just place that in the middle, and then we have our cooking tray or sheet or whatever. This is really nice because it has non-stick coating, so it's easy to clean. And then we are just going to place our chicken wings on top. The thing is, you don't want to crowd this. The lid on here is really high, so you could cook a whole chicken in it. But as far as the plate size goes, it is a little limited. But 6 is a perfect amount. So place them on, and you want to make sure that they're spread open, that they're not closed up wings. It's like a strategic puzzle to place them in here to make sure that everybody's in there, has their space, and they don't poke each other with their elbows. And when you're marinating this for a long time, you might see that, oh, it's not totally covered. Believe me, it's flavorful. It's been sitting in here for a while. And this is the simplest thing, and that is about that. So what we're going to do is we're going to just cover it. There's an opening on top, and if you're dry smoking, you can open that. And then there's a thermometer, and you put the thermometer in the hole, and you want it to achieve about 220. It doesn't necessarily have to go in the meat. It's measuring the temperature inside the dough. You turn on the flame, medium to high, and you just let it smoke. It's a good idea to have some kind of ventilation in the house, a fan on, a window open. It doesn't make an incredible amount of smoke. I really thought it was going to be like smoke up the whole house, but it's really pretty good. And then you just turn it over. You'll hear it sizzling. You'll smell it for sure. And we're going to let that cook while we do our salad. We're going to make some kale salad. Kale is so rich in vitamin and fiber and all that good stuff. And it's actually not just a garnish. It's delicious to eat raw. You don't have to cook it. It gives you all the nutrients. And making a salad, especially in the warm weather, is an easy way to get all that good stuff. So this is a red kale, so it's a little purpley in color. You want to break apart the leaves and take the spine or the rib out, whatever you want to say. And we are going to toss just a little bit of olive oil on it to start wilting, but we're going to make a separate dressing. Now what I've done is I oven roasted both yellow and red beets, and it's gonna add sweetness, and it's really good when you're serving with smoked meats. You want that complement of a nice sweetness to it. So we're gonna add that, the yellow, and it's also really pretty color. And remember, when your food is varied in colors, you have a red, a yellow, and a green food, you're getting a balance of nutrients and different vitamins in that. What I'm also going to add, ding! What I'm also gonna add is pine nuts, which are toasted. Now, how do you toast pine nuts? You don't put them in the toaster. Two ways. You can either put them in the toaster oven, watch them carefully, or you just put them in a hot pan. And the oils in the nuts, and you would do this with any nuts, almonds or whatever you have, it'll start browning and it brings out the flavor. So we're gonna add some pine nuts. And again, if you wanna use almonds in this, you can do that as well. I'm gonna add some salt and pepper. There's already some salt in my Himalayan pink salt, which I love, and some fresh ground pepper in my favorite pepper mill, which is in my opening cartoon. Everybody like my cartoon? Woo! Okay, and we're gonna make a vinaigrette. So, this is so easy. Bottle dressing has so many different ingredients in it you don't even wanna know, and it doesn't even use good oil. Olive oil, extra virgin olive oil. You're gonna add about 3 parts oil to 1 part vinegar or whatever acid you have. You can use balsamic vinegar, you could use red wine vinegar, you could use fresh orange juice, fresh lime juice, fresh lemon juice, or even fresh grapefruit juice, any of the above. You want to kind of match the flavor for what's in your salad and what the rest of the dish you're eating. And I just thought that this would go great with the beets. The beets and balsamic just excite me, just gets excited. Do you get excited by beets and balsamic? Woo! No, it's true, that's usually balsamic is on those salads. And then you can use a mustard, whether you use a dry or a wet Dijon mustard. I'm going to use a dry, it's a little bit more bitter because the balsamic is very, very sweet and rich. I'll usually use, when I'm using citrus, I'll use a wet Dijon. So you just whip it up with your fork. So see how easy this is, just with a fork. We blended 3 ingredients to make your own dressing, and it's pure ingredients and delicious. Also, with the mustard, acts as a emulsifier to thicken it and to blend everything together. We're just gonna dress our salad and give it a toss. I'll be ready to go. I'm making music in the kitchen. You know, it's really interesting about these, in between my clangs and my clings, and you can hear, but these silver serving pieces were my grandmother's. And I inherited several sets of them, and I love them. They're sentimental, but they're also beautiful. And in a pinch, I could hawk them for a lot of money. Okay, so we're gonna taste the salad and see how it is. Oh, like every good chef, just use your fingers. Mmm, delicious. We're gonna be serving this to complement our jerk chicken wings. Now, you know how cooking shows everything cooks so quickly? It's because they pre-cook everything. So yesterday I cooked these jerk chicken wings. I'm gonna swap them over and make you think that I just cooked them now. Okay, so our wings have been in the smoker for about an hour, and turn them over a couple of times. Look at that, look at that. We are gonna serve them to our studio audience with the kale salad, and let's